She said it. The words, the special relationship, were uttered, and apparently without much prodding. What this proves, of course, is merely that the new Secretary of State knows how to tickle the British Foreign Secretary's toes. The important question is what it means. Last time round it got us into sending young men and women to support George Bush's invasion of Iraq. But this time, our diplomatic editor, Mark Urban, has this assessment.
There's a transition in Washington, but conflicts and rivalries go on everywhere else, and the world is beating a path to the new administration's door. Today's meeting brought together two big beasts, a nearly president and a maybe prime minister, who waxed lyrical about their two countries' ties.
It's often said that the United States and Great Britain have long enjoyed a special relationship. Well, it is certainly special in my mind, and one that has proven very productive.
But while she talked about a special relationship, he, in typical Brit style, talked about the special relationship.
We have, I think, in our discussions today followed what the President and the Prime Minister committed themselves to, which was to renew and refresh the special relationship, and that is certainly our commitment.
And at the very end, she too used that cherished phrase, underlining her Anglophile credentials.
Thank you all for being here to record the slight change, but more than that, the continuity in the special relationship. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Good.
As Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton is America's chief diplomat. But the business of making foreign policy involves President Obama himself, and some worry that he's no fan of Britain, Vice President Joe Biden, the National Security Advisor James Jones, as well as super envoys such as George Mitchell in the Middle East and Richard Holbrooke in South Asia.
It is a man who wants strong people, and you almost want a few good arguments around. I always thought that if you weren't arguing among yourselves, you weren't taking on the tough issues. And these are tough issues that America faces, and he's got the best and the brightest around him. Yes, there'll definitely be arguments and leaks and great stories for the press to cover, but that's part of trying to change America's approach in the world. It's going to take some arguments and some fights. No doubt President Obama will be the one who's deciding these issues. No one is questioning that.
Britain's ability to retain influence with the new administration will be defined by how useful it can be to the US. That could take the form of overt diplomatic interventions in the UN Security Council, or maybe with Iran. It could also take less visible forms, intelligence cooperation, or an increased role for British special forces in Afghanistan and Pakistan. Issues like Iran will test the new administration's relations with Europe. Iran today trumpeted the launch of its first satellite, a move with ominous potential for its missile program. For while many have applauded President Obama's commitment to talk, the White House has recently reiterated that all options, including force, must remain on the table.
Diplomacy is putting together a set of incentives and disincentives to try to convince the party you're dealing with, in this case Iran, that it needs to change behavior that we as an alliance, we as a group of countries find irresponsible. And I think a crucial component of that is the leverage and the military option, or having that option remain on the table, not immediately taking it off prior to entering into any kind of a negotiation or discussion is I think, a responsible position.
Afghanistan too could unmask some unreconstructed attitudes among US allies, but the new administration is determined to turn the tide there.
Afghanistan represents the largest challenge, together with Pakistan, that President Obama will face. Well, they will put more troops in there. It's unstable. They need that. But the larger question of how to rebuild an unstable Afghanistan is the toughest challenge. You've got the Taliban there. You've got on the border with Pakistan. It's fomenting unrest in Pakistan. President Karzai is really mayor of the city of Kabul, doesn't have control over the country, the wealth, huge opium production, fueling the GDP of that country, and no easy solutions. This is a generational problem. President Obama will no doubt have to hand it, hopefully in a better position, to his successor.
In all questions, from soft power to bombs or bullets, Britain and other allies will have to ask what leeway they really have to form partnerships with the new administration. Britain's ability to make itself a valued friend to the Obama administration is going to be constrained, not least by the financial crisis. That and military overstretch mean, I've been told, that the British government is against large-scale increases to forces in Afghanistan. It's the same across Europe. France and Germany don't apparently even want to speak much about Afghanistan at the NATO summit in April. And indeed, Britain's best bet in cementing its working relationship with the Obama team may be that however limited the UK's ability to increase its diplomatic or military clout, Britain may well carry on doing more than most